So for this project, I was looking at 5 companies within the medical industry. The 5 companies I was looking at was Stryker, Abbott Labs, Johnson & Johnson, Medtronic, and Penumbra. So starting with Stryker, I had all this info to kind of go through. So I kind of started breaking it up a little bit just to make it a little bit easier to understand for me. So I start with the liquidity ratios, such as the cash ratio, current ratio, and the quick ratio. And I found the percent change between each year, just to make it a little bit more easier to comprehend a little bit. So for example, between 2013 and 2014, there was a decrease in all 3 ratios. However, between 2014 and 2015, it increased again. So it just shows that they became a little less liquid and then got a little bit of their liquidity back. Next, I looked at ROA and ROE. So their ROA and their ROE is relatively normal-ish. So it starts off really well. There is a little bit of a decrease in the ROA between 2013 and 2014, as well as 2016 and 2017, but it's not really massive drops. Like they cut it by half, but it doesn't drop it down so low where it becomes really, really noticeable. Their ROE is actually relatively good. Besides 2014, it's all about 10% or more in a return on equity, which is really decent. Their PE ratio is also relatively high, which is also a good thing. Their EVA starts off kind of low and drops quite a bit in 2014. However, it does start to increase again for 2015 and 2016, and it does take a slight drop again in 2017. Next is Abbott. So like with Stryker, I started with the percent change in the cash, current, and quick ratios. And they also decreased between 2013 and 2014. However, they increased from 2014 to 2015 and 2015 to 2016, while decreasing again in between 2016 and 2017. Their ROA and ROE, on the other hand, though, was really low. It started off kind of okay, and then dropped massively come about 2016 and 2017. For example, the ROA dropped below 1 during 2017, which is not a good thing. Their PE ratios, on the other hand, are really high for these last 2 years, for 2016 and 2017, showing that more than likely the company was overestimated. And their EVA was negative for all 5 years. So it shows that they are actually eating more money than they are generating with future projects. Next is Johnson & Johnson. Again, started with the percent change, and they actually they increased from 2013 to 2014 and 2014 to 2015, with just a slight decrease in the current ratio for that year. And they increased again from 2015 to 2016, with a decrease from 2016 to 2017. Their ROA and ROE, again, starts off really well. However, within 2017, it dropped massively. For example, for the ROA, it dropped from 12.05 to 0.87. That's about a little over 11%, while their ROE dropped from 23.37 to 1.99, which was about a 21% drop. Their PE ratio is relatively stable and relatively within the same norm as the other companies that we've so far looked at, which means it might be just a little overstated like it was with Abbott. However, their EVA started off relatively high and then kind of decreased a little bit, but took a massive drop in 2017. So they may just be investing in some new projects that just haven't had a chance to pay off yet. Medtronic. So for Medtronic, they actually decreased every year from 2013 to 2017 in their cash ratio, current ratio, and quick ratios. So their liquidity kept kind of going downhill a little bit, which could easily be described with either a decrease in assets or an increase in liabilities. However, their ROA and their ROE is actually pretty decent. So it starts off, their ROA starts off relatively high and decreases just a little bit, but towards 2017 it does kind of start staying around the same number and not dropping a lot. Their ROE is relatively high, comparatively speaking, with some of the other companies we've looked at. However, again, it does kind of drop a little bit for 2016, but it does look like it's on the rise again. Their PE ratio is also pretty leveled, at least for 2016 and 2017. So it may be starting to kind of balance out a little bit more. However, their EVA has decreased from 2015, 2016, 2017. So they may be investing in a little bit more projects. And last is Penumbra. So with Penumbra, there's actually quite a bit of info missing from the data that was collected. However, I was still able to do the percent change for the cash ratio, current ratio, and quick ratio. And they actually increased from 2013 to 2014, 2014 to 2015. However, they decreased from 2015 to 2016, and 2016 and 2017 they increased. However, with their ROA and their ROE, since there's a lot of info missing, some of the years weren't calculated. However, the years that were calculated were kind of low, comparatively speaking, with some of the other ones we've looked at so far. However, with their ROE, some of the info missing was the interest burden, as well as the earnings before income tax. Their PE ratio was also missing for 3 of the 5 years. However, 2 of the years that showed were actually extremely high, so the company may have been overpriced just a little bit those 2 years. And their EVA is relatively stable. It fluctuates a little bit, but it's not extremely high nor extremely low.